Ann is a doctoral candidate in the Department of LCLE, of course. Prior to coming to IU, she taught English to university students in Thailand for 8 years and wrote a book titled Conversation Matters. At IU, she taught an online graduate course under Dr. Samuelson's supervision last summer. Her research interests are centered around second language writing and computer-assisted language learning. She's particularly interested in corpus-based language learning research and its application to ESL and EFL teaching. And she's currently writing a dissertation entitled Incorporating Corpus Technology to Facilitate Learning of English Collocations in an EFL Writing Course, directed by Professor Dr. Michalewski. Without further ado,
thank you for the introductions. I have been writing alone for a while, so today I am so happy to see friends and professors and new faces in LCLE. So I'd like to thank the SLED committee for giving me the opportunity, and I will try my best to make myself understandable. The study that I want to share with you today is my pilot study for the Collocations that I conducted when I took L700. I would like to start with giving the definitions of the two terms that you will hear over and over throughout this presentation. The first one is corpus. It's a singular form, or corpora is the plural form. It means a collection of written text or a transcription of spoken language stored electronically and can be analyzed using a concordancer. Collocation means a pair or group of words that are often used together. For example, fast car, fast food, not quick car or quick food. These combinations sound natural to native speakers, but for a student of a language, they have to make a special effort to learn collocation, because collocations are very difficult to guess. All right, and I want to talk about why collocation knowledge is important. As we know, English writing is considered to be a very important skill for that could help ESL and EFL students to gain access to good jobs or to gain admission to higher education. But supported by my teaching experience and some research in Thailand, we found that Thai students lack knowledge of English collocation, and this development result in their writing English with a foreign accent. So it is important for English teacher to find instructional methods to reduce this foreign accent in writing. And the benefits are not only for students who are in high proficiency, it's also good for beginning students, because if they learn collocations, they can produce a piece of writing that proved to be more understandable, and more advanced students can be encouraged to achieve near native writing fluency. However, the problem is in some situations, particularly in EFL situation, students do not have sufficient linguistic input to help them acquire English collocations, and Corpus technology is believed to be able to provide this type of input. I'm going to show you how to access online concordancer. This concordancer is it's called Lex Tutor. It's a website free of charge, and this is the input page where students are required to enter information. The first one is very important, is the keyword. So let's see, I'm going to find a word that's collocate with suicide. Not that I am interested, but just one. Okay, so the keyword is entered. So next thing students need to do is to choose corpus, and you can see a list of corpora under this menu. I'm going to choose 3 million words, and it's a combination of brown corpus, BNC written and BNC spoken. You can also see there are so many corpora here. Some of them are specialized, like TV talk, commerce, law, and medicine. All right, and I am going to. So what next thing I need to do is I have to say If I want the collocate word is on the left or on the right, so I want it on the left, so I hit get concordance. Okay, now I got 38 hits, and the way these are concordance lines, and the way they line up is they are always in alphabetical order, either before or after the keyword. So as you can see, the words that collocate with the words that appear with suicide, the most frequent one is commit, mass, and at the bottom it's also give the frequency, like committed 8 times, commit 4 times, and committing 2 times, and then so this is the word that collocate with suicide. If we click at the blue keywords, we'll get to the full text. So student can see the full text from here. All right. Oops. Where am I? All right. For literature review, many studies that support the use of corpus data for language learning suggest that corpus consultation may be useful for language learning because it can provide example of real language as it is actually used, and this resource could be considered invaluable for acquisition to take place. However, there are some scholars who are against the use of corpus data, and some of the reasons that they give are as follows. Corpus data against dictionaries. Some dictionaries also include collocations, an example of sentences being used in a word. Some scholar in Wu study 2009 commented that language in a corpus is decontextualized and is always presented in a sentence-based or even half sentence. Students may find too many examples or too few examples. My conceptual framework, I use data-driven learning, or DDL. This approach claims that language learner can use data derived from electronic corpora as linguistic sources. DDL attempts to cut out the middleman as far as possible and give direct access to the data so that the learner can take part in building up his or her own profile of meanings and uses. I have 2 research questions for my pilot study. The first one, how do the students describe their problem-solving processes and strategies in the web-based concordancing setting? And I also interested to learn their view toward using corpus data as a linguistic reference. So I contact participants. At first, I contacted 4, but I managed to get to. The first one is female Thai. She graduated engineering undergraduate degree from Thai University. She reported her TOEFL score of 550. Second one is Gan. Gan is a student in IEP, and he has stayed in the U.S. for 7 months. He reported TOEFL score of 540. But when I taught him, I found Nada is much more fluent than Gan. The context, I created a workshop, met 4 times, 2 hours each, and I used a textbook called Paragraph Writing, a Process Approach, written by a professor back home. I taught 2 chapters. I taught them how to write a paragraph, to describe a person, and how to describe a place. And then each chapter was organized to follow 8 steps in writing process, starting from generating ideas, organizing ideas, until revising your writing and editing your writing. When it comes to editing your writing, I introduce collocations and concordancings, and also take the opportunity to add my my corpus-based teaching in this editing your writing. For the instrument and data sources, I use many, and that's the purpose, because I want to try out my research instruments for my dissertation, and also to try out logistics of the study. But I would like to take a look closely at Think Aloud task, because I analyze data for this study using this a lot. the task was based on following 10 collocations. And then later on, 8 out of 10 collocations were replaced by following incorrect collocations. So they look at this and they would tell, when they did that think aloud, they would tell me if these are correct or not, and then the concordance to confirm or disconfirm their answer. Okay. All right. For the findings, my first research questions, my finding about students' problem-solving processes and strategy in web-based concordancings, I found that participants make a guess every time after they read the items. They make a guess of correct answer whenever they can, and then they use concordancer to confirm or disconfirm their initial assumption. If that guess were correct, then they finish their task. But it got more interesting when their guesses were not correct. For example, when Nada worked on item 5, he talks between 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. She thought it was correct. But after she concordance, she found that it was not correct. You can't see the screenshot very well. Sorry about that. But in here, there are some informations that, for example, it's say and here between Tom and Tom. So Nada discovered that, and she was so happy because she said something like this helped she remember very well, and this phrase will stick with her. She said, I have always thought between Tom and Tom was correct because this phrase can be written with a dash, and a dash to her means two. I am surprised, but I am looking at other example. I can see that between and can be used with many different things, such as age, between 2 to 5 years old, distance between 200 and 400 meters, so on and so forth. Next finding, I found that they use their English grammatical knowledge to help them derive at a correct answer. However, Nada did a great job on using her grammatical knowledge, but Gan seemed to heavily relies on grammatical knowledge, and that seemed to hinder him from paying attention to context. And when he did not pay attention to context, it mislead him to give a wrong answer. For example, when he worked on item 7, some days I think my hair could get gray because of my roommate's behavior. He didn't know what this one means, because in Thai we would say white instead of gray for hair. So he didn't know this one, but what he knows is to get and to be are used interchangeably. So when he saw that some of the concordance line, including was, he was quickly gave the answer, this one to be gray, which was wrong, because he didn't see that it should be turns gray, because this concordance line talk about hair, but the rest of the lines did not talk about hair or any parts of the body at all. That brings us to the next finding, paying attention to the context in which the collocation were in was very important for in order to derive or induce a correct answer from concordance line. This is Nada's case when she worked on item 2. He is a medium height. She doesn't know the answer for this one apparently. So she concordance, and then she found 118 concordance lines. She looked at the ones that were relevant to her query as shown in this figure, and then she clicked on KWIC on line 55. And then she decided that off medium height was the correct answer because it can be used to describe a person's appearance, and her item 2 seems to have the same purpose as well. Now next one, problems that participants encountered. I observed that sometimes when they did that think aloud, sometimes too many results on the output page. Some other time it's too few. Number 2, the issue of choosing a keyword. If they pick a wrong keyword, then they did not receive the right set of the data. And number 3, the problem of choosing a corpus. There are so many corpora for them to choose. Student view toward using corpus data as a linguistic reference. Some of the advantages that the participants see is they could take a more active role in learning. They're learning by doing basically, and which is the opposite of the situation back home where they usually listen to the teachers and follow the teacher. Number 2, they could be more autonomous learners. So anytime that they can access internet, they can look up information on Concordance. They remember the new knowledge better because the man said, I remember very well because I did that 6 or 7 times for learning one collocation. For perceived disadvantages of concordancing, the first one is the complex process involved in using the tools. It took time and effort to get to the data and to derive correct collocation from corpus data due to the difficulty levels of example and the availability of the data in the corpora. Number 2, always is sound trivia, but they commented that the appearance of the tools is not interesting. And at that time, the background colors of the website is also black. They just changed it last month, I think. Now I want to triangulate the results. So I look at results from post-project questionnaires, and I found that it corresponds to the interview results in many ways. I have 22 questions on my questionnaires, and I divide them into 3 constructs. The first one is on benefits of corpus use, and we want to look at the mean that is more than 3. 1 means strongly disagree and 5 means strongly agree. So they agree on easy search technique and help learn collocations. For the third construct, overall evaluation, they seem to have positive view on all of this. For problem and difficulties construct, they comment that there are too many sentences and require time and effort. Conclusion and recommendations. The result of this study suggests that whether learners can successfully take part in building up their own profiles of meaning and uses partly depend on their English proficiency level. The student with a high English proficiency demonstrated a strong capability to analyze corpus data and using inductive abilities to solve collocation problems. However, this was not the case for the lower proficiency level, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't introduce corpus data to lower proficiency level, because access to linguistic data with established software proved to offer invaluable input. Therefore, my recommendations for teaching is we need to provide some scaffolding activities or step-by-step instruction of how to analyze corpus data from the very beginning, so they learn and then they'll be able to do it by themselves. I am aware that my study has lots of limitations. First, very small number of participants, very short time, and I also think I should include more type of collocation that I didn't have noun plus verb and noun plus nouns, and these are more difficult than the one that I have, that I show you on the screen. Number 2, it would have been useful to keep track of time for each concordance session to see if students can take less time once they are more experienced with the concordance. Now, so future study in the same vein should consider addressing this limitation. That's it.